3, 2, 1.
You ready?
Listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Hope you're having a great start to your week. So I've got a quick review, a trailer review, which I'm starting to do more of these because if you heard a random sound there, that was my new cat probably meowing to the microphone. But we are here. I'm here talking about my quick thoughts on Morbius, the newest movie from Sony's attempted universe that they're building, which has some ramifications as we break this trailer down. But this is, of course, starring Jared Leto as Michael Morbius, and let's just get this out of the way. The last time Jared Leto was in a superhero film, he was playing the Joker in Suicide Squad, and in the same way that Steve Carell and Will Smith both really want Oscars, to the point that it's actually kind of sad at this point, Jared Leto, besides wanting to be a good musician, he really wants to go ahead and star in a comic book franchise. It's very clear when you watch Suicide Squad. I will give the man credit. There's that one scene in the beginning in the nightclub where I went, oh, he might be a good Joker, and then it just fucking crumbles. He's so bad in that role. But hey, we kind of have to thank Jared Leto, because if we don't get Jared Leto's Joker, we don't get Joaquin's Joker. So we should all be thanking Jared Leto in a weird roundabout way. But he's here as Michael Morbius, and I have been, full disclosure, I have been shit talking the hell out of this movie, because look, Sony wants to go ahead and let's call it what it is. Tom Holland made a tearful plea, because he is a wonderful angel we don't deserve, when Sony basically acted like the fed up mom and went, I'm divorcing you, I'm over this shit. Basically, they went ahead and went, we're done with you, we don't want to work with Marvel anymore, we're taking our toy and going back home. But here's the thing about Sony. While they have Into the Spider-Verse, and I can't wait for Into the Spider-Verse 2, because I love Miles Morales, and I love that first film. My favorite film last year, in case you guys forgot. Here's the thing. Sony has a mixed track record at best of doing Spider-Man films outside of Marvel. Look, I love the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man. After that, I think Spider-Man 2 is one of the most overrated films of all time. I think it's right there with Boondock Saints and Scarface. In just that, why do people fucking love this? I don't understand it. And Spider-Man 3, there is a review up for it. God help us. I fucking hate Spider-Man 3. And then we get to Amazing Spider-Man, which I think is not great. I mean, there's some moments, but overall not really a Spider-Man film. It's more of a Dark Knight version of Spider-Man, or a Batman Begins version of Spider-Man, which doesn't work at all. And Amazing Spider-Man 2 is one of the worst comic book films ever made. So Sony has a very mixed record of handling the wall crawler. Good grief, and his friends, as it were. I will give Sony credit, because they did go ahead and present Spider-Man PS4 game, and as my girlfriend would tell you if you could interview her, I play Spider-Man quite a bit because I fucking love that game, and it almost hurts my heart how good that game is. The score, the theme song from Spider-Man, the PS4 game, was actually in my top songs of 2019. I fucking love the music in Spider-Man. Oh, it's so good. But all that to say, Morbius is one of those characters where you look at Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, you look at Doc Ock, you look at Rhino, look at Mr. Negative, you look at Venom, you look at Carnage, you look at Chameleon, you look at Green Goblin, you look at all these villains in his rogues, and I know many people would say that Batman has the best rogues gallery. I think it's Spider-Man, personally, because if you read some of the shit Norman Osborn has done, oh my god. And the fact that, let's be honest, guys, when Batman isn't Batman, the character gets a lot less interesting. The fact that we have a Miles Morales who is fucking amazing, and Spider-Gwen, I think it speaks volumes to how much the Spider-Verse does connect with people. But Morbius is one of those villains that he's never been like a huge foil for Peter. He's more of a Blade villain or Punisher villain. It seems like more often than not than Spider-Man villain. So it's a little weird that they're doing a solo Morbius film. But I'm going to kind of jump ahead here. Watching the trailer, there was some stuff I did really like. So I like the way that they are showing Morbius kind of make his transformation. It looks like he's playing like a harp type instrument, kind of like the way Sherlock Holmes like attracts bees, and then cutting his hand to go ahead and draw the bats to him to go ahead and get bitten. I thought that was actually really fucking clever, and I went, oh, okay, I like that origin quite a bit. I thought it's a subtle thing, but I really appreciate that. When they talk about his increased strength and speed, you see him just lift up this like exhibit, almost like a coffin, and it's a pretty cool like moment, just showing off his strength. The other thing I freaking love is that Morbius's eyes turn white when he's using his echolocation. It's kind of like how Daredevil kind of uses like almost like sonar to go ahead and get a read on people in the room. Again, as a huge Spider-Man nerd, and if you guys have listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know I love Spider-Man. So that's such a very subtle comic touch that I went, okay, that's actually that's cool. I like the way you're portraying that. Also, in the trailer, whenever you see Morbius outside after it looks like he's been bitten, he's wearing his hood up like he's trying to hide from sunlight because he's a vampire. Like I just like little things like that make me go, all right, I think this could perhaps work. This is where the trailer gets interesting for me. So there's a scene of Morbius walking in this hallway, and you see the Spider-Man graffiti. And it says murderer, and it's spray painted over the top. So this is where it gets interesting for me, because if you guys haven't seen Far From Home, first off, why haven't you? It's freaking amazing. But for those of you who have, if you haven't, cover your ears for like a minute here. Just give me a minute. Mysterio framed Peter Parker at the end for a terrorist attack and revealed his identity to the Daily Bugle, of course ran by everyone's favorite asshole, J. Jonah Jameson. So what's interesting is that, of course, Spider-Man's an Avenger. Like that's, I feel like that's common knowledge, like at the world at large, the royal us. So, you know, you think back to something like Age of Ultron, where, you know, the Hulk's name was dragged in the mud because he went crazy, you know, because of Scarlet Witch. It looks like the news cycle has kept up on this and has really smeared Spider-Man's name, which is falling right in line with the comics of how the Daily Bugle is always just trashing Spider-Man. So for me as a Spider-Man nerd, I'm like, oh my god, like Peter Parker having to juggle his to go ahead and juggle his identity and worry about people coming to like hurt him and Aunt May, and the Daily Bugle smearing his name. I'm so all about it, so I'm really excited. What's interesting though is that the suit there, it looks like it's Tobey Maguire's suit instead of Holland's. So I don't know if that was an intentional bonus thing, or if maybe it's a conflict of image rights. It feels like that might be edited out when the movie does release, or maybe it really was intentional. I'm just curious. What I will say, we're getting Matt Smith here as Hunger, his civilian name, Loxias Crown. He's another pseudo vampire who's got, you know, human traits and bat traits, and so he is one of Morbius's greatest foes. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to play out. So I've been watching Doctor Who. I need to get back on it. Everyone tells me OJ, of course you've heard him on the podcast before. He says that he thinks Matt Smith will be my favorite Doctor once I get to him. I mean, bow ties are cool. So I mean, as a fan of bow ties, I feel like he kind of has a lead already. But I'm curious to get to this Doctor. I've seen him on The Crown. I think he's an amazing actor. So I'm curious to see what he brings to this role. I'm not crazy about how Morbius looks. I like the way his eyes look, his face. I'm just not. I'm not crazy about it yet. Maybe the more I see it, the more I'll go, oh, all right. Like, yeah, I dig this. But yeah, right now I'm kind of like, all right. I'm not crazy about how your face looks, but maybe by the time I get to the film, I'll go, oh, okay, it would have warmed up to me. But so far, I'm not stoked. The biggest moment in this trailer, because I'm watching the trailer, I went, all right, some of this looks pretty cool. All right. Again, it's Sony. I see a universe where this just sucks through a straw, but I mean, who knows? It could be good. I thought Venom I didn't think Venom would suck. I thought Venom would be okay, and I actually end up really enjoying Venom. So, who knows? Maybe I'll enjoy this too. The crazy part at the end of this trailer is that Morbius is like kind of walking in this alley, and he runs into fucking Vulture from Homecoming, Michael Keaton himself. So, I mean, yeah, it could just be this one scene, just a complete one-off, one cameo, but this is huge because, again, Sony's been acting like they'll take their Spider-Man toy at any point and go home. This might imply, I think this implies that Sony and Marvel want to keep playing ball. And let's be honest, guys. I know Sony wants to do their own Spider-Verse. I get it. But let's be real. Having Spider-Man in the MCU for DC, and not DC, oh god, DC wishes they had Spider-Man, but for Disney's pockets and for Sony's pockets, it makes no sense to not have Spider-Man in the MCU. So clearly, they sat down and went after Tom Holland, saved Spider-Man, which, God bless Tom Holland. What a beautiful, wonderful man. I'm sure Disney and Sony sat down and went, cool, we don't like each other, but we like money. And so if we want to make all the money, we need to go ahead and play ball here a little bit. So the fact that this confirms that Sony's Marvel films are in the MCU, the big question is now, the end credit scene, do we get Tom Holland? Do we get maybe a Venom tease? Hell, since it looks like this takes place, I think, right after Homecoming, because it looks like the Vulture just busted out of jail. But hey, who's to say we don't get something after the Mysterio bit of Eddie Brock seeing like a newspaper or something like that, and deciding to head back to New York? I mean, that's a possibility. The implications of what this means are kind of insane, and I'm being honest. I'm kind of trying to rein it back a little bit because I woke up this morning and I put on the trailer, and Alea was I think she was in the shower. She was still sleeping, and I remember I actually covered my mouth and went, "What the fuck is that? The Vulture?" Like, I was so confused. Like, what? And so then I felt kind of betrayed because I will. If you guys have listened to it, listened to reviews around a couple months ago, I was losing my mind when Spider-Man was pulled from MCU. I cried at work when I read the news. I was like, God damn it, Sony, really? Like, I was so mad. And so seeing this, it's like, oh wow, they might have kissed and made up. Maybe I don't have to be stressed out that with every Spider-Man film, it'll be the last one tied to Marvel. Like, okay, that'd be really nice. So I'm really amped. I still believe there is a world where they fuck this up. I'm not sold on this yet. But the fact that this is in the MCU, even if this is bad, at least that means we'll probably get Morbius in maybe Spider-Man 3. And let's be real, guys. The one thing that they have not done with Spider-Man that they've wanted to do for forever, we want to get to the Sinister Six. We want to get Spider-Man versus Sinister Six. And maybe Morbius fits that bill. Maybe he helped Peter. I mean, there's so many possibilities. And again, I'm trying to kind of rein it back so I don't lose my mind here. But this could have huge implications for the MCU. And the big thing, oh my god, I didn't even think about this. What if the end credit scene is Blade? What if we get Mahershala Ali as Blade? I mean, Blade was announced last year at Comic-Con. They've been filming this for a little bit. You don't think that someone maybe already has designed Mahershala's outfit. Okay, if we get Blade as the mid-credit scene, oh god, okay, that would be amazing. Anyways, guys, this comes out July 31st, so we'll definitely be reviewing it when it comes out. I will say I'd give this trailer, we don't normally rate our trailers, I'd give this trailer a C+, because, again, there's some stuff that I'm like, oh god, this could suck out loud, but the MCU connections alone get it to a C. And I will say, seeing Morbius use some of his power set, I'm going, okay, this could make for some interesting moments. So, Morbius, guys, what'd you think of this first trailer? Let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can go ahead and like us on Facebook at TheReelPineapple. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nearmanthefirst. And you can follow Colin on Twitter at TheReelOneal. Guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about us. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, and Spotify at The Real Pineapple. Guys, thank you so much for listening, for your support. We'll have reviews up this weekend for Just Mercy, Doolittle, God help me, and for Bad Boys for Life. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your week. Take